Yeah.
But it's for the better. Like, it's for me to get my life better and focus on my schooling, my career, my health. Number one, my health, so I don't fucking die, because I can't do shit for them if I'm dead.
Yeah.
I can't stop stressing if I don't have help, you know? So it's like, and it's like the dads didn't want to help me. They wanted to see me beat. I done lost everything so many fucking times. But you know what? Like I said, I'm going to come back for them. And as far as the whole foster whole thing, like, will it be open? Will I still be able to, like, see them, bring them gifts and stuff? Like,
what they'll do is they'll set up visitation for you, usually here at the agency or a designation place, whatever the court orders, and you'll be able to see them weekly.
Okay, that's even better, that I can still see them.
Oh yeah, you'll get to see them,
and I can still provide for them, right?
Correct. You
Birthdays,
can bring them gifts, and have all that.
Because like, it's only so much I can do. I mean, I just finished my last medical class today, so it's like I just have to study for my
What school did you go to?
I'm in 2 different colleges right now.
Okay.
One is through OSU for my national medical assistant license. I told them that earlier. I made sure I told them that there's nothing wrong, and they didn't do anything wrong, and I don't want them to think that they're not enough, because they're everything I ever wanted. I'm coming back for them. I don't care, y'all. I'm telling you, respectfully from my mouth, whatever hoops you guys throw at me, no matter how you guys try to spin it, I'm coming back for my kids, and I am going to get my kids.
I don't know, guys. I believe her story for the most part. But there's just this one thing that I haven't got answered yet. Hello, I'm Shorty Q, and if you're new, what it do? I hope you become part of the Q crew. It's free to subscribe. We are talking about hardship, hard times, y'all. And let's get into it. So you see what the story is about. So when I first saw this thumbnail and I saw this lady on here, and it stated that the lady gave up her 5 children to CPS, I'm like, this is really hard out here. It keeps getting worse. And this is worse than, it's a little bit worse than when we're in the other recession, which they're not saying we're in a recession, but it definitely feels like it. And the prices have gone up for food and everything, and being a single parent is extremely hard right now. A lot of people have been unemployed at the beginning of this year, and a lot of them lost their homes. So when I saw this being on there, I wasn't surprised, and I was actually like, okay, good. Like, she went to get assistance, because we always be screaming about how we have resources and places for children to go to when you need help. So why are people not utilizing it or using it? And the only place I could think of was to go to CPS. If there's other resources, people don't seem to really tell you or let you know what to do in these type of situations when you're in it. I just figured she didn't have a lot of family assistance, because why would she be there? So I kept seeing the thumbnail over and over again. I finally decided to go ahead and look into the video. Excuse me, y'all. I need me some tea. What I did not say in this video is that she was in a shelter. She stopped going to that shelter because there were people in there shooting up drugs. So she stopped going there, and they were all living in her car. She couldn't even do DoorDash because the children were hungry, and she couldn't do any DoorDashing with all those fumes and food in the car, and the kids would just suffer from the smell of the food. And also, she was not able to use the food stamps because she had no place to cook them, obviously. So I saw Nick at Night's video, and it was live video, but it already was finished, and it was 4 hours long. So I decided, I went ahead and looked at all 3. I look at it in increments throughout 3 days, and I guess I just was intrigued. I wanted to see the rest. So I decided to go ahead and break it down, because someone else reacted to it and didn't want to go through the whole entire video. Understandable. And I knew more about the story after finishing it off, and I was like, oh no, you know what? I'm going to break it down. So the reason why the lady gave her children up to CPS, as expected, it was a very sad story, and she was going through hardship. She didn't have any family friends, so she gave up her children to CPS. She wanted to still have visitation, and the reason why she recorded it is because she wanted to have witnesses. I was like, so why didn't she just record it and have it on her phone so she could have it later, or even if she put it on social media, why make it public? Well, I guess she just want to have someone in real time to actually see it. So that was her mindset at the time. Now, what people don't know is that she did try to give the children to their father, especially the youngest children, which the 3 youngest are under 5. They're not in school. And the father even told authorities that they didn't want the children, and they already had other children. I guess there was another baby mother that was currently pregnant, and he had other children. Yeah, that is very annoying. So you're not going to take care of the children that you do have that's already here. You're supposed to take care of all of them. Doesn't matter. So that was a lost cause. She didn't have any good family help. She went between saying that she doesn't have family assistance because they have their own situations going on, and then she went to another interview, and basically kind of cussed them out to the point where they were useless. And I really don't know how to take that. Which one is it? Were they just not available and they couldn't do it, or were they not good people and they did you wrong? I don't know.
So I blocked all my sisters. I blocked all my family because I don't like none of them bitches. I don't give a fuck about none of them bitches. I'm cool. I cut my ties with family. I cut my ties, obviously, unfortunately, with my kids. I don't have a boyfriend, but the nigga I was fucking, that nigga, I cut my ties with him. If the dads didn't fucking care, why the fuck do I gotta care? And it's sad because I do fucking care. I obviously fucking care. I love the fuck out of them. And I'm gonna come back for my babies, and I'm gonna get them the fuck.
But that's kind of why people somewhat don't believe her, because she says things like that, like little subtle things. That's kind of off with her story. But it wasn't that big to me. And they act like she was all over the place when she was explaining. Not necessarily. She was just answering questions, and they kind of went out of order because she was answering people's questions as they came. So I'm trying to do it in order by the best I can. So the next thing is that the reason why she came into this hardship is because she didn't have a job. So she had 2 jobs. One job was outside of the home, and the other job was working from home. So she lost her job going from outside of the home because she lost daycare services. We call it vouchers here. And basically they pay for your child care services. And when they dropped her off of the daycare services, she had to come pick her kids up. Sound like it was while she was at work. And that she couldn't continue to go back to work because she couldn't take her kids back to daycare. Around the same instance of that happening, she was working from home at the second job, and there was some type of work being done on the home that she was living in. And they set the home on fire on the back end, like the back of the house. So there was no way, it wasn't livable anymore. So she couldn't work at her work at home job anymore because she didn't have internet, and she couldn't continue to be there. So this is crazy. This is very unfortunate. A lot of people didn't seem to believe her because they're like, if your vouchers was taken off, why didn't you call and try to figure it out? Well, the issue with that is that I've heard this happen before, where daycare can't no longer take care of the children because the vouchers that was paying through the government for the daycare stopped all of a sudden. That does happen. I've heard that happen here in this state, even though she resides in a different state. Why they do that, you never know why they drop you. No, the situation had changed. You haven't called. No one called. They just drop you out of nowhere. So I immediately believed her when she said that, because that does happen. The only little tweak about it is that all the companies I ever saw that happened to with other people is that they called you after you got off of work. They didn't call you in the middle of your job. So whether the case may be, I kind of brushed that portion off because maybe the company does do that. You never know. And it's at the end of the day, the vouchers are capable of being taken without your knowledge. And then you have to go through loops and hurdles and re-verify and stay on the phone for hours until you get it reestablished. Well, I'm pretty sure she didn't have time to get that reestablished when she was too busy trying to figure out about her living situation. So I've had a friend that this happened to, where her house was set on fire. It was like electrical fire, and it was the apartment complex's fault, nothing to do with their home. So the smoke did so much damage that everything needed to be repaired, and she still had to pay rent. She was a single mom too. These are all single mothers of personal experiences I've heard from other people, or have been friends with them, or have been co-workers with them, and this has happened to them. And they could not live at that home anymore. They didn't have, I guess because they didn't have rental insurance, that it fell on them. But if it was their fault, I don't see why they shouldn't have been paying for living expenses until they were able to make it suitable for them to be able to move back into a home. And I told this person that experienced this, like, you need to speak to a lawyer. But a lot of people will not consult a lawyer. I don't understand that. It is free. It is free to consult a lawyer, and just know, make sure you jot all the, cross all the T's, dot all the I's when it comes to situations like that. You never know what you could have utilized during that moment. You're supposed to look at everything. So because they didn't want to go through that hurdle, they I don't have any money for that. They felt like even if they had a lawsuit on their hands, they didn't have the money to pursue it, so they didn't. You guys, please ask. You do not know what things may be put in place where they may even pay for it as long as you win, And what ended up happening is they stopped paying for the apartment complex because they couldn't live there anymore. So they stopped paying there because they wasn't living there. And it wasn't suitable, and they weren't doing their part to get it fixed. So they ended up finding somewhere else to live for until they got back on their feet. Once they got back on their feet, their wages were garnished. They had to pay all of that money back for all that time within that lease. Again, still didn't go to a lawyer or anything like that. So this is the reason why I believe her story, because I literally have witnessed people going through this in my life. So there is that. And then when it came to the children, she didn't have good family support. So her village is basically non-existent, which it really is a lot of non-existent village these days. It doesn't really exist for a lot of people. And that's another thing that really irks me, is that when people side-eye you or be like, why don't you do this? You don't think I didn't think of that? You don't think I don't have any intellect or knowing at all to have thought that myself? Okay. Can you give me some other options instead of the obvious ones? Just saying. But yeah, they'll be like, oh, you should get yourself a babysitter, you should do this, you should do that. Why don't your mom watch them, why don't your sister, brother? If you don't have any of those things, then what are you talking about? If you have that, it's a blessing now these days. It's not even an option anymore. I digress. So, next thing is that her mother is a recovering addict. And everybody was talking about how, well, every time someone has like 5 children, 4 children, I understand there are some people out here who have had children out of wedlock and they were just wilding. But not everybody was doing that. Stop assuming just because they have a lot of children that they didn't want to have those children, or wasn't married, or went through a divorce. I'm just saying, like, it's really aggravating for you to automatically put them in the thought category when they didn't. That wasn't them. So that wasn't her case. She wasn't divorced or anything like that. She actually was great. Her first children was from a family member that raped her, and she tried to get justice for that, but it did not go through. She kept going and going and going for it, but once it hit the statute of limitations, they wouldn't go any further with the investigation. She could not get this person to go to jail or get any type of consequences for this. So she never went to therapy. Like most people, she just went ahead and went on with her life. She said, I'm living, I'm breathing, I'm doing fine. I can get through this. I have children to take care of now. People, let me tell you, when you go through traumatic situation like that, you're going to be affected by that. It always looks different depending on the person. Now, when you don't have a good father figure, or it doesn't really matter, but most of the time when a person doesn't have a father figure, when it's a girl, they are more septum to fall into the hands with another male within their relationship that's not good for them, and they look for that acceptance and that love within the male that they never got during their upbringing. And this is what ended up happening in her case. Because she didn't go to therapy, because she didn't do any type of healing mentally for herself, she ended up getting to 2 bad relationships after that and had 3 more children. She does have a set of twins, which are the youngest in this group of 5 children. So she has gone through a lot. She is walking with a lot of trauma, and she has not done any healing for it. She hasn't took the time to do anything because she feels like she doesn't have the time because she's taking care of children. Mothers, when you have children, you have to take care of yourself. You have to stop putting yourself on the back burner. I understand that you can't not put yourself on the back burner for the first year of that newborn being born, but you have to find time. Yes, she has 5 children. When is she going to be able to find time? That's the issue. She has to take PTO and go to therapy. Therapy needs to be part of self-love routine. When you know you have gone through some traumatic, just check in mentally to see if you're okay. And a therapist is able to go in and try to make sure that you're okay, you're not projecting, you're not internalizing or any specific things, because when you're in a relationship, it's going to trickle in there. She was angry. She's always, arguing when certain things happen, and she's getting upset with her significant other in certain ways and saying things that she shouldn't say. And she owned up to a lot of that stuff. But the reason why she was doing that, not just because she was young, but because she went through a traumatic experience. So a lot of things are triggering her in the wrong way. And some of them may be subtle, but you could be so much a better person and not take on toxic relationships or attract toxic people if you're in a better state of mind. You have to take care of your mind. And this is what this channel is about, so I had to put emphasis on it. Okay, so now the gag is that she actually didn't have to give up her children to CPS because they said that if she could find a plan to be able to put her children in a better housing, then they wouldn't take the children. Because she was thinking about open adoption and all of that, because she was at her wit's end. She already reached out to all her family. She already reached out to the dads. She's even reached out to people on social media for, can you take my children? You'll get family assistance and all this type of things. I'll give you the money for the food stamp so she was worried about her getting herself on her feet and then be able to get the children taken care of until she was able to get a suitable housing. And she ended up deciding to do kinship, which someone on Nick at Night's channel said, because they actually did kinship themselves, said it's basically someone that you know, not actually person that is kin to you, and like they could be a friend, and they decide to take your children for temporary custody somewhat, and once you get on your feet, you come back and get your children. A lot of people did not believe her that she was actually giving these people assistance, and that she was going to actually get on her feet and get her children back. Only time can tell. She may not, but we don't know that. We hope that she does, but it is what it is. So this is her present situation. Doesn't mean that she can't turn it around. She also said that she was just finishing schooling, so she was working 2 jobs, have 5 children.
About the mother that was so fed up with doing everything on her own and not having any support that she dropped her kids off at CPS. Let's talk about it. So she starts her story off by saying that one of her baby daddies is deceased. The other baby daddy, she called him to come pick up the kids, and he said, no, bitch, I don't want the kid. And then the families aren't shit, so she really has no support anywhere. She goes on to say that she has been doing this alone since she was 15 years old. She is now currently enrolled in 2 different colleges. She's a full-time worker, and she's a full-time mother with no support. So after reaching out to the child's father, he said no. She can see this is her at the CPS office, and the caption says, if any of the dad's families are on Facebook, we are at the Children's Services if you want to come get them. In the other video, she did mention that her kids, if you were to adopt her kids or to foster her kids, that you would receive benefits from the state, an SSI check for one of her children, and other things, that she would want to support her kids and not just abandon them. Now, she also made this post. Basically, she's interested in opening up an account for the kids so that when they turn a certain age, they can access that account. We've been seeing a lot of crazy things on TikTok lately, so I am very happy that she decided to take them to CPS instead of harming those kids.
I had to get rid of some footage so I could re-record. So back to what I was saying. Let's sum this up. Also, she was on birth control, but she ended up still getting pregnant. She still had her period and everything, and she ended up still getting pregnant. She was trying to not have any more children after the 3rd child and the twins, because after her situation and all that, and it's already hard with 2 by herself at the age of 15, she just really didn't want to have any children. But even though she didn't want to have any children, she was still excited. She was still happy that she had her kids. At the end of the day, work hard and do the best for her children, and the dads are not in their lives. They have done nothing but complicated things. Now, she had a run-in with CPS because of one of her child's father's grandmother that kept calling CPS on her when she was not doing anything wrong. And time and time again, CPS has come down there after the reportings and have not found anything. Now, one time she did have a bad running in with CPS, and she had to call, and she had to release her children to CPS, but when she got a different judge after a good while of not having them, she said it took maybe a couple of months or less, and she ended up getting them back because she was able to prove that she wasn't shown as being unfit. So the mother, the reason why she's giving her a hard time is because she believes she basically unalived her son. The twins, no, it's the third child's father is no longer with us because he overdosed. And she believes that she still had something to do with it because she said very harmful words about her son. But the thing is that she was upset with him because he was not pulling his weight on rearing and taking care of the children. There is no excuse for her saying the words that she said. She took ownership to that, but she did not do anything for her son to overdose. He was known to have to be an addict. He had that stuff in his system, and she was already proven that she wasn't at the scene or anything when this happened. But the mother doesn't want to hear it. She's in denial. The grandmother, I mean. So that's that. And that's the reason why she also did the recording online so that she could have witnesses to her going in to say that she wanted her children back. She said on record that she wanted her children back and she didn't want no funny business. So she wanted some witnesses. And she decided to do that on social media. It wasn't a good idea. I don't know. Anything you put on social media that's that sensitive, I don't think is a good idea. I don't know if I already said this in the video, but if I did, I'll just cut this part out. The reason why the children were in 3 separate households is because most people will not take on 5 children all at once, not even for a couple of hours while you go on a date or just for you to get a break. So they're in 3 different households, and she knows where they're at, and she says that she's still caring for them until she gets on her feet. They're just in a different household. And I think her dad passed away when she was young, and that's the reason why the mother ended up really getting heavy into being an addict. But yeah, she wasn't reliable, and just like I said, when she was raped at an early age of 15 by this family member, she was basically failed in her situation, obviously most likely through CPS, because it's all the stuff she said was reported. And it is surprising that even though she's been done wrong by CPS twice, not just by her family, but also, you know, there was no one there to protect her. It's surprising that she did go back to CPS to take care of children till she was able to. But that is what CPS is. That is what the DHS office is there for. It's for that type of assistance for when you're in that type of dire need. That's what we pay all these taxes for, is for it to be there for these type of situations. Whether it's being utilized correctly is up to debate. I digress. I've had a family member personally that has had bad experiences with CPS as well. So I know I just feel like she was on desperation. She just didn't know what else to do. Why people do use social media to ask for help, I don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I understand this, you know, I understand CPS may not be the best place to go. And I do understand that she may not come back for her kids. We just hope and we pray that she does. That's all we can do. And we can only take her word for it, because all you can go by is what someone has said. And then wait for time will tell if it ended up putting them in a lie. Will we ever know? I don't know. It's up to her to tell us the updates. She was hoping within 6 months. I hope it's sooner than that, but I digress again. My main thing that makes me skeptical about the story, that is still a red flag that I didn't hear anybody else say, is that you have FMLA at your jobs. So if something like this happened, why wasn't she able to pull that and still be able to keep her job? Or be able to go back to her job once she did this kinship thing? Because I understand, like, if you lose daycare services, a lot of times that I know of, jobs won't put you on short-term or long-term or anything like that because of your child care services situation. But when it came to her housing with the work-from-home job, I felt like she should have been able to pull, not short-term or maybe even long-term, because I don't work in HR, I don't know the protocol. But I know that she should have been able to go back to her job once that situation was settled, or she was able to get her kids taken care of and situated. That's the part that still throws me. That is, like, because I've known situations where people have had their homes, you know, caught on fire. I've had situations where people needed to take care of their children because of emergency. This was an emergency. This falls under these type of situations. And why wasn't she able to utilize that? Because usually when you tell HR about your situation, they open up that opportunity and tell you. And if you don't, some jobs, if you don't tell them, they're not going to tell you. So that's the only one that raised a red flag for me. Even if you don't have short-term or long-term, you still should be able to have that parental leave or something to that effect. Some people don't even have the parental leave, but it'll fall under the FMLA. But you guys let me know. A lot of people believe she was a lie. I just wish that everyone just didn't jump down her throat and didn't just immediately not believe somebody. Some people took it as they got triggered from their past or had a similar situation, and their parent didn't come back for them, so they was projecting on her. And I was just like, and it's always us that give each other the hardest time. Like, we're not the main ones going through a lot of stuff most of the time. I digress because I'm going to start to get irritated, and this video is already long enough. So I believe I've gone over everything that was a key pointer in here. If I did miss anything, my apologies. Remember, you guys, you are beautifully, wonderfully made. At the very beginning, you're beautifully, wonderfully made. Only you can make that change into something it should have never been. Guys, go to therapy so you can be the best person that you need and supposed to be in life. And pray for this lady. Only good prayers, not negative ones. I see you guys on the next video.
Exposure. It's crazy that my exposure came from me having to do one of the hardest things in my life, because one of the biggest things is they said I had like posted it for attention. I would obviously, if they, I don't know if, okay, the people who seem to be so invested, they're not invested enough because they obviously didn't see my videos prior to that, crying out for hours for help. Like they don't not cried out for years for help. Like actually, the cops actually called the dads, and a lot of people was like, oh, the dads keep trying to call her and trying to get them. They probably are now that it's viral, but literally 20, 30 minutes before I walked into CPS, they was telling the cops, no, we don't want them. The twins that, oh, we don't want them. Me and my baby mom, we got kids on the way now. I'm like, why the fuck y'all having more kids? You're not even trying to take care of the ones you got now. But it's